Over 1,210 years ago, in the 6th year of the Yüan-ho reign of the Tang Dynasty, corresponding to 811 AD, monk Tanguan excavated a well at Ling-ling Temple outside the west gate of Liyang County in Kiangsu province. He had some inscriptions and a gāthā verse by Kuo T'ung, a distinguished gentleman from an earlier age, engraved on the headwall of the well, which later came to be known as the Tanguan well. In the 5th year of the Yüan-yu reign of the Song Dynasty, or 1090 AD, Pao-en Temple was built outside the east gate of Liyang County. Qing Dynasty gazettes mentioned that the well was located in this temple, giving rise to the view that there may be 2 Tanguan wells. Whether monk Tanguan actually carved 2 wells, or whether the original well was later moved to Pao-en Temple, has long been a matter of debate. During the Chia-ch'ing reign of the Qing dynasty, when Chen Man-sheng served as the district magistrate of Liyang, he saw the Tanguan well at Pao-en Temple. Hence, in ping-tzu year, the 21st year of the Chia-ch'ing reign, or 1816 AD, he made an I-hsing tzu-sha purple clay water vessel, modeling it after the well of which Tanguan engraved the headwall. Monk Tanguan, also known as the state preceptor Qing Liang, bore the surname Yüan-ho, and the tzu he used was Da-xiu. He was a native of Huiqi in Yuezhou in the Tang Dynasty. He was born in the 26th year of the Kaiyuan reign, corresponding to 738 AD, and died in the 3rd year of the Kai-ch'ing reign, corresponding to 838 AD. An extract from the text of Stele of Imperial Eulogy for the state preceptor Qing Liang reads, having finished his words, he passed away. Tanguan and his students lived through 9 reigns, and he served as teacher to 7 emperors. He was 101 years old. His monastic life spanned 88 years. He was 9 feet 4 inches tall. His hands hung below his knees. His eyes shone at night, and in daytime he did not blink. He was very talented, and his voice resonated like a bell. Emperor Wenzong recognized the reverence his ancestors held for Tanguan. So upon his death, the emperor mourned him by suspending his duties in court for 3 days. Officials and commoners alike wore white mourning garments, and his body was enshrined in a stupa at Mount Zhongnan. Not long after, a monk from India arrived at the palace and recounted that he had seen 2 emissaries flying in the air in Zhongling Mountain. Stopping them with a mantra, he asked who they were. They replied, "We are divine attendants from the Hall of Manjuri in northern India. We are traveling east to fetch a truth relic from the Huayan Bodhisattva, Tanguan. You will be returned to our land for enshrinement, and we bear an instruction to open the stupa." Indeed, after further investigation, 1 tooth was found missing and only 39 remained. When his body was cremated, his sarira was luminous and translucent. His tongue had the color of a red lotus. He was bestowed the same posthumous title that of state preceptor Qing Liang. Monk Tanguan served as teacher to 7 emperors, namely Daizong, Dezong, Sunzong, Xianzong, Muzong, Jingzong, and Wenzong. This was the highest honor attainable by a subject. When Tanguan died, Emperor Wenzong suspended court affairs for 3 days, while officials and commoners alike donned white mourning garments, akin to the mourning protocol applicable to the death of an emperor. This is a testimony to his great prestige. The genesis of commentaries by the national preceptor Qin Liang records his personal precepts, the lineage of his teachers, and his scholarly works. Here is an excerpt. He was 9 feet 4 inches tall. His hands are hung below his knees. He had 40 teeth. His eyes shone at night, and in daytime he did not blink. He became a monk in the 7th year of the Tianbao reign, and received full ordination in Dingyou year, the 2nd year of the Shuzhong reign. In the same year, he was summoned by imperial decree to the palace and commanded to translate the Avatamsaka Sutra, also known as Yüan-yu. In the early days of the Dezhong reign, he set forth these 10 vows to discipline himself. Body does not abandon the deportment of a monk. Mind does not transgress the rules of Tathagata. Meditation does not contradict Dharma Sutras. Nature is not tainted by attachments. Feet does not step on the ground of nunnery. Ribs do not touch the couch of a lay person. Eyes do not see in contravention of decorum. Tongue does not taste food after noon. Hands do not let go of prayer beads. Sleep next to robe and arms bow. He studied under monk Zong and monk Jingsan from the Buddhist sect of Niutou, inquiring after the principles of Buddhism. He received Avatamsaka teaching, also known as Huayan teaching, from the Zen monk Sen in the capital. This took place in the 3rd year of the Dali reign. Emperor Taizong later summoned him to the palace, where he discoursed on the translations of the Tripitaka. He was bestowed the honorific title Yunwen Dade. Afterwards, he retired to the great Pao-en Temple in Wutai Mountain. He was well read, particularly well versed in the Confucian classics, different schools of philosophy, the philological traditions of China, Buddhist scriptures, Sanskrit script, traditional Indian philosophy, and their 5 branches of knowledge, and other Buddhist works. There was nothing he did not master. In the 4th year of the Qianzong reign, he began writing his commentaries, and the work was completed in 4 years. The phrase, he studied under monk Zong and monk Jingsan from the Buddhist sect of Niutou, means that monk Tanguan studied under the 6th patriarch Huizong of the Buddhist sect of Niutou, who was born in 683 AD and died in 769 AD. Tanguan also studied Avatamsaka Sutra under the Zen monk Sen, also known as Fa Sen or monk Da Sen, who was born in 718 AD and died in 778 AD. The phrase, "the work was completed in 4 years," refers to his work, Commentaries on the Avatamsaka Sutra. Tanguan was the 4th patriarch of the Huayan school. He mastered the teachings of various Buddhist sects and produced an extensive body of writings. His 10 vows came to be known as the 10 vows of Qin Liang, which to this day continue to inspire and guide many Buddhist practitioners. The headwall of the well, inscribed by Tanguan, is recorded in detail in the Liyang County Gazette, published in Bingsen year of the Guangxu reign. It says, The Tang Dynasty well is located at Pao-en Temple outside the East Gate. The headwall of the well was engraved with these words. In Xing Mao year, the 6th year of the Yüan-ho reign of the Tang Dynasty, in Jia Wu Suo month of May, on Wu Sen day of the 15th, Tanguan commissioned the erection of the stone headwall and base for the well in Ling-ling Temple, to be used forevermore by the public. The chief minister for the palace buildings, Kuo T'ung, offered a gāthā verse. Stone from Mount Nan to build this headwall, countless generations, Buddhist karma type. Toil on for merit, it will not decay. Blessings now shared surpass that of Buddha. According to Jingling Gazette, Tanguan well was located in Ling-ling Temple outside the West Gate. However, the engraved Tanguan well is now at Pao-en Temple. Could it be that sometime in the Tang Dynasty, this temple was a separate retreat or branch under the administration of Ling-ling Temple, and that 2 wells were thus constructed? The relocation of Pao-en Temple occurred in the Song Dynasty. Whether Tanguan engraved 1 well or 2 wells is not conclusively determined by the gazettes. If he did in fact engrave 2 wells, the inscriptions would likely differ, and should it not bear the name of the separate retreat or branch. The Liang County Gazette also records, Pao-en Temple was originally 50 miles northwest of Liang County. It was built in the middle of the Tianjian reign in the Liang Dynasty, and abandoned in the middle of Huichang reign in the Tang Dynasty. In the 5th year of the Yüan-yu reign in the Song Dynasty, a local resident, Gao Xian, and others relocated and rebuilt Pao-en Temple 1 mile outside the East Gate. During the Xuanhe reign, it became Shenxiao Abbey, and later the horizontal plaque of the building was substituted by one written by Chancellor Li Gang. The temple underwent several repairs during the Ming Dynasty and was also called Ling-ling Temple. During the Tang Dynasty, Ling-ling Temple was located at the west gate of Liang County, while the original site of Pao-en Temple was 50 miles northwest of Liang County. If it had served as a separate retreat or branch of the temple, it would be easy to access. The Liang County Gazette further records, according to the old Jingling Gazette, Guangfa Temple is now outside the West Gate. During the Song and Yuan dynasties, it was inside the West Gate. Originally, it was named Ling-ling Temple in the Tang Dynasty. In the 1st year of the Wu Yi reign of the Yang Wu Dynasty, it was named Zhi-fa Yuan. In the middle of the Taiping Xingguo reign in the Song Dynasty, it changed the horizontal plaque of the building to this name. In the footnotes of Jingling Gazette, the Buddha Hall and Bell Tower were built in the middle of Tianyu reign in late Tang. The bronze bell was casted in the 14th year of the Bao-da reign in southern Tang, and the street-facing engraved stone well was made in the 6th year of the Yüan-ho reign of the Tang Dynasty by Tanguan of Ling-ling Temple, identical to the well at Pao-en Temple. Tanguan was originally a monk at Ling-ling Temple. At that time, there was no Pao-en Temple. Perhaps there was only a small hermitage under the supervision of Ling-ling Temple, which was the reason he constructed 2 wells in the same year. The theory of Tanguan building 2 wells became even plainer. However, in a supplement to Liang County Gazette, under the entry, the stone well by monk Tanguan of the Yüan-ho reign is in Pao-en Temple outside the East Gate. A stone well sung by Si Bing was reproduced. The opening lines read, "There lived a curious Tang monk, Tanguan, who built a heavenly pagoda in old Suzhou. To and fro he visited Ling-ling Temple at Liyang and carved the gāthā verse deep into the well. Which year did the well move to Pao-en Temple? One big and one small, their sizes so vary. The shafts are different and didn't quite fit, yet 100 men carried it from the west." The song notes 100 men were allocated to move the well, though it is unclear when it happened. Si Bing was a native of Liyang. As he collaborated with Chen Man-sheng to compile the Liyang County Gazette, he would have been well acquainted with local history. The account that the Tanguan well was originally located in Ling-ling Temple, and then it was moved to Pao-en Temple, is supported by this anecdotal poem. In my collection, there's an I-hsing purple clay water vessel designed by Tan Mansen that was modeled after the Tang Dynasty Tanguan well. It was crafted by Yang Hongyan, with an inscription engraved by Gao Jun. It was dedicated to Zhu Wei Xie. I have cherished it as the rarest treasure for a few decades. The water vessel resembling the Tang Dynasty well is a sacred artifact of an illustrious monk, a precious gem in a scholar's studio, a masterpiece of purple clay ware, and the only extant water vessel by Tan Mansen. The inscription on the water vessel reads, "In Xingmao year, the 6th year of the Yüan-ho reign, 811 AD, of the Tang Dynasty, in Jia Wu Shuo month of May, on Wu Sheng day of the 15th, monk Tanguan commissioned the erection of the stone headwall and base for the well in Ling-ling Temple, to be used forevermore by the public. The chief minister for the palace buildings, Kuo T'ung, offered a gāthā verse. Stone from Mount Nan to build this headwall, countless generations, Buddhist karma tied. Toil on for merit, it will not decay. Blessings now shared, surpass that of Buddha. The well is now located within Pao-en Temple outside the east gate of Liyang. When dear old Mansen became magistrate of this county, he copied its form and words to make teapots and water vessels. This is one such item. In June of ping-tzu year, the 6th year of the Chia-ch'ing reign, Xi-quan Daoren recorded this by hand. This is a desk object, an everlasting treasure, made for Li Tang. Chief Minister for the palace buildings was an honorific title bestowed to Kuo T'ung. He was the grandfather of the preeminent Grand Councillor Guo Ziyi, 697 AD to 781 AD, who revived the fortune of the Tang Dynasty. He was a native of Huazhou in Shanxi province. Kuo T'ung served as assistant magistrate of Meiyuan County in Shanxi province. He was posthumously honored as Minister of War. This poem, engraved on the headwall of the well, was compiled into the complete Tang poems Supplement 10, Volume 22. In the 6th year of the Yüan-ho reign, when Tanguan commissioned the construction of the well, Kuo T'ung had been dead for exactly 30 years. The carving of the Buddhist verse, composed by his grandfather Kuo T'ung on the headwall of the well, demonstrated that Kuo T'ung's posthumous fame was still undiminished. The water vessel was made in ping-tzu year of the Chia-ch'ing reign, which is the 21st year of Chia-ch'ing reign, corresponding to 1816. At the time, Tan Mansen was the district magistrate of Liyang. The engraving on the water vessel was signed by I-hsing, the tzu of Gāthā, whose studio name was Fo Xiang Lou. He was the brother of Tan Mansen's wife and a native of Qiantang in Zhejiang province. He was coached by Chen Man-sheng in seal engraving and achieved clarity, strength, and refinement in his works. The water vessel was a gift dedicated to Li Tang, the tzu of Zhu Wei-xie. He attained the title of supplementary student and was a native of Pinghu in Zhejiang province. He was the younger brother of Zhu Wei-bi, and the two brothers were cousins of Chen Man-sheng. Zhu Wei-xie often exchanged poems with Guo Ling, Tu Zhuo, and Chen Man-sheng. He was skilled in the calligraphy style of flying white. His literary work is titled Collected Poems of Chuanshi Studio. At the base of the water vessel, there is the seal imprint I-hsing. This is a classic mark that verifies the I-hsing wear of Chen Man-sheng. The water vessel would have been made by Yang Peng-yan. Chen Man-sheng, whose original name was Hong Shou, was born in 1768 and died in 1822. His tzu was Zhi-gong, and his hall were Man-sheng, Man-shou, and Zhong-yu Daoren. His studio names were A-man-tuo-shi, Shang-lian-li-guan, Zhong-yu-xian-guan, and Man-tuo-luo-guan. He was a native of Qiantang in Zhejiang province and served as district magistrate of Liyang and associate administrator of coastal defense in Jiangnan. He was proficient in poetry, calligraphy, painting, and especially renowned for seal carving, being one of the 8 masters of the Ling school. He was fond of designing I-hsing teapots and known for his 18 Mansen designs, though in fact he designed many more. They were crafted with great precision by the master potter Yang Peng-yan, and they became known as Mansen teapots. His poetry was titled The Collected Poems of Zhong-yu Xian-guan. Chen Man-sheng, Yang Peng-yan, and Gao Rizhun jointly created the water vessel as a gift to Zhu Wei-xie. The 3 of them, Chen, Gao, and Zhu, were not only bonded by close family ties, but also shared a deep friendship through literature and art. The renowned painter Tanguan once owned a water vessel modeled on the Tang well. It was 3.8 cm in height, slightly smaller than the water vessel by Chen Man-sheng, and it had the seal imprint imitated and made by Sime. Hence, it is certain that the late Qing teapot master Zhu Sime, original name Zhu Jian, had seen and examined Chen Man-sheng's water vessel modeled on the Tang well. He must have been overwhelmed with admiration to make his own copy. The Nanjing Museum has a Chen Man-sheng teapot modeled on the Tang well and a water vessel modeled on the Tang well made under the name of Yang Pengyan himself. The Shanghai Museum has two Tan Mansen teapots modeled on the Tang well. These examples confirm the inscription engraved by Gao Ri-jun. When dear old Mansen became magistrate of this county, he copied its form and words to make teapots and water vessels. This is one such item. Chen Man-sheng produced two types of objects, teapots and water vessels, to resemble the Tang well, and they were produced in limited numbers. However, after more than 2 centuries, very few examples have survived. I have not seen another water vessel modeled on the Tang well made under the name of Chen Man-sheng. This can be considered the only piece extant. Contemplating these two lines in Kuo T'ung's verse, countless generations, Buddhist karma tied. Tanguan had hoped to use the enduring stone well to attain this timeless enterprise. He could not have imagined that 1200 and more years later, though the well still stands in Liyang, it has become a relic in a public park, and that Buddhism has diminished so much in the country, it is comparable to the devastation under Emperor Taiwu of the Wei Dynasty, Emperor Wu of the Northern Zhou Dynasty, and Emperor Wuzhong of the Tang Dynasty. Over 200 years ago, Chen Man-sheng recreated Tanguan's well in the form of a water vessel in I-hsing clay, and it has fortuitously survived the ravages of time. How extraordinary has been my blessings to find this pearl in a pile of ashes, in a life as ephemeral as a flickering light, days and nights in its company, trekking along the incised lines and shadows left by the carving blade, to be touched and illuminated by the compassionate heart of Buddha.